instant release will always be on an insurance company's formulary. With the extended release, however, it can vary, and this is because the extended release is slightly more expensive than the instant release. Adderall extended release is designed to mimic taking a comparable dose of the instant release 4 hours apart. So if you look at the concentration of amphetamine in someone's blood, if you take a comparable dose of Adderall instant release 4 hours apart, the extended release is designed to mimic that concentration exactly. So that's generally why they don't cover the extended release in favor of the instant release, just in case you're ever wondering. But y'all don't care about that, you just want to try to get this stuff approved. So let's have a look and see how to do that. So there are two situations, as I mentioned before. It can either be on the formulary, in which case it's going to need a prior authorization, or it won't be on the formulary, in which case you need to start the non-formulary medication process. If it's on the formulary, it's basically going to have the same criteria as the instant release, so it'll look something like this. We can see, well, let me go back. We can see that this company is just like that situation I described earlier, trying to encourage people to take the Adderall twice daily as opposed to the extended release. So here it says non-formally, amphetamine, dextroamphetamine, ER. Amphetamine, dextroamphetamine, that's the generic name for Adderall. Sometimes you will see it written as amphetamine salts. It's the same thing. That's non-formulary. Instant release is formulary. But let's have a look at the criteria. If it is on your plan formulary, the criteria will be the same for the instant release as the extended release. Required medical information. Statement of FDA-approved diagnosis of narcolepsy or attention deficit disorder. So in order to get this approved, if it's on the formulary, all you need is just a diagnosis of attention deficit disorder or narcolepsy. So when you go to the submission, all you need to write for the diagnosis is ADHD or narcolepsy, and it'll be approved. That's it. If it's not on formulary, then there's just a little bit extra information we gotta add. For a non-formulary medication, we have to add a little bit of extra information. For non-formulary medications, we have to try and fail 2 formulary alternatives. So we click on the medication, click on alternate medicines, and here it's got 4 medications that are listed. We don't have to try all of them, just 2. I would recommend picking Adderall instant release, amphetamine, dextroamphetamine, and methylphenidate. Here it's got methylphenidate ER, but it doesn't really matter, just write Adderall instant release and methylphenidate. Now that we've got our 2 formulary alternatives, we're going to proceed to step 3. In this hypothetical example, I'm going to be taking Adderall extended release, 20 milligrams daily, so I can fill in this rubric. Beginning with the drug name, Adderall extended release. Make sure to include that the generic is okay if a generic is available, unless you plan on using the generic name, which would be amphetamine, dextroamphetamine, or you can put amphetamine salts. As usual, I would just recommend using the brand name plus stating that the generic is okay if available. The drug strength, 20 milligrams, drug quantity, 30, frequency, 1 daily, doctor's name, doctor's fax. The diagnosis, I chose to use ADHD. The diagnosis code is 314.01. I used ADHD because it's far more common than narcolepsy. If you need the diagnosis code for narcolepsy, although it's absolutely 100% not necessary, you can just search it on Google or use the CMS IDC9 code search tool. If the Adderall extended release was on your formulary, then you can stop here. There's no need to include the criteria, because as we saw earlier, for the instant release, the only criteria for the prior authorization was just the FDA-approved diagnosis of attention deficit disorder or narcolepsy. And since we provided attention deficit disorder, it will be approved. If it's non-formulary, then we'll have to include this information. Of course, if you include this information and it's on the formulary, it's not going to hurt you. So you may as well include it anyways. Tried and failed Adderall, instant release, and methylphenidate. It doesn't matter if you use the brand names or generic names, it's all fine. After I've got all this information, I'm going to call the insurance company, ask to file prior authorization. As usual, it doesn't matter if it's technically non-formulary or prior authorization, you just say prior authorization, they'll know what you're talking about. They'll collect this information from you, and that's it. You hang up the phone, and you're done. Oh yes, and don't forget to ask for a stat decision. That way, that approval will be given to you within 24 hours. And in 24 hours, this will definitely be approved. This is going to be approved 10 times out of 10. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Hope this was helpful, and I'll see you next time.